4 beautiful girls ventured into the wilderness for a day of fun. By chance, they discovered a natural pool with a floating platform in the middle. Before they could discuss how to get down, Nicole boldly leaped in without hesitation. Encouraged by her bravery, the others followed suit, diving into the water. On the floating platform, they removed their clothes, revealing stylish bikinis, and jumped back into the water, enjoying a carefree swim. During a break, they noticed some equipment on the platform, including diving gear. Intrigued, they decided to explore the underwater scenery. Donning the gear, they dove back into the water. Swimming through a canyon, they stumbled upon what looked like an ancient structure. Curiosity led them into a passage carved with mysterious runes. The further they went, the narrower the passage became, forcing them to swim in single file. Emerging on the other side, they found a switch-like object on the floor. Activating it lit up the surroundings, revealing a breathtaking scene. Beth suggested they explore the area since they were already there and swam ahead. They arrived at a place resembling an altar when Nicole noticed movement behind her. Curious, she swam toward it alone. The others quickly followed and discovered a transparent, blind cavefish. Nicole reached out to touch it, but the fish emitted a strange cry, startling her. In her panic, she bumped into a stone pillar, causing several statues to collapse. Suddenly, sediment from the seabed enveloped them in a murky cloud. Calling out for each other in the chaos, they didn't realize a shark was silently passing by. While Mia was at a loss for what to do, a man suddenly appeared beside her. He explained that he was an archaeologist. Mia recounted what had just happened, and Beth soon joined them. The man urged them to leave immediately, warning of the dangers. As they hurried back the way they came, they reunited with the other 2 friends. Mia warned them about the shark, urging them to escape. The group swam toward the passage, but Lisa doubted Mia's claims, thinking it was a joke. Just as Lisa entered the tunnel, the shark rammed into them from behind. Terrified, they swam forward with all their might. Fortunately, the tunnel was too small for the shark to enter easily, but its relentless attacks began to crack the cave walls. Just as they neared the exit, the cave started collapsing, and a massive boulder fell, blocking their way. They tried to move the rock, but it wouldn't budge. Their oxygen levels were down to 40%, leaving them with no choice. Lisa suggested going back to search for another exit, emphasizing the need to stick together. Returning to the murky main hall, they found a guideline left by the archaeologist. Following it carefully, they hoped to avoid attracting the shark. However, Lisa soon noticed the line was severed. Beth, trembling with fear, was unsure of what to do next. Lisa insisted they press on and led them in searching for a way out. Passing through another tunnel, they discovered an active probe, indicating the archaeologist's team was nearby. Desperate, they began calling for help. Suddenly, the 4 girls froze in terror, lying motionless on the seabed. A shark hovered above the group, circling ominously. Trembling with fear, they dared not make a sound. Thankfully, the shark didn't notice them and slowly swam away. Just as Mia began to relax, her oxygen gauge emitted a low oxygen alarm. Panicked, she quickly silenced it, but the shark turned back, drawn by the noise. The group frantically swam toward a nearby tunnel, with the shark in close pursuit. Luckily, a metal mesh at the tunnel's entrance temporarily blocked the shark's advance. Taking advantage of the moment, they swam upward into a cramped half-meter-high cave. The space was too small for the shark to follow, offering them temporary safety. However, the air inside was stale and uncirculated, posing a risk of suffocation if they stayed too long. Their oxygen tanks were also running low. Suddenly, they heard music nearby. Mia decided to investigate alone, instructing the others to stay put. She dove into the water and followed the sound, eventually finding a man listening to music while welding underwater. As he worked, the music abruptly stopped, prompting him to inspect his equipment. While he was distracted, a shark approached from behind. When Mia arrived, she found a blinking alarm device and turned it off. But as she turned around, she was horrified to see a man's severed head floating toward her. Startled, she began retreating, but was suddenly grabbed by another man who motioned for her to stay close. Above them, the shark circled menacingly. After the shark swam away, the man led Mia to find her friends, unaware that the shark was trailing them. The 3 remaining girls, worried about Mia's delay, dove in to search for her. They discovered the shark's presence and began banging on stone pillars, creating enough noise to confuse the shark. Nicole seized the opportunity, using a welding torch to strike the shark's face. The injured shark swam away, and the man urged everyone to escape quickly. Following the man's lead, they swam through another passage and resurfaced, finally able to catch their breath. They found an elevator shaft leading to the surface. Climbing it one by one seemed to be their way out. As Beth started ascending, Mia noticed the shark approaching from below. In her panic, Nicole grabbed the rope and climbed as well, but the weight was too much for the rope to bear. The clip holding the rope began to loosen. Despite the danger, Nicole refused to let go, stepping on Beth in her desperation to climb higher. The clip eventually gave way and Beth was flung into the water. The shark lunged at her, but she narrowly avoided being bitten by twisting away. Meanwhile, Nicole almost reached the surface, but the rope finally snapped. Although she managed to grab onto a rock ledge, it began to crumble under her weight. Nicole fell back into the water and was swiftly devoured by the shark before she could resurface. Terrified, the remaining survivors used alarm devices to call for help. The man urged them to remain silent, explaining that the shark seemed averse to the alarm's frequency and had retreated temporarily. However, finding a way out remained a pressing challenge. The man revealed that the cave connected to the ocean and that pressing a button underwater could activate an escape mechanism. Just as he finished speaking, the shark leaped out of the water and swallowed him whole. Watching the man get swallowed by the shark left the three women petrified, but they knew staying put would only make them the shark's next meal. Summoning their courage, they dove back into the water to search for an escape. Armed with alarm devices, they ventured into the dark waters, their surroundings illuminated only by faint red light. The shark occasionally appeared nearby, sending them into panicked gasps. Thankfully, the alarm devices kept the predator at bay. Suddenly, the shark vanished, and a powerful underwater current swept them into a narrow tunnel. Lisa, attempting to retrieve her alarm device, was caught in an even stronger current that pulled her toward a deep abyss. Despite Mia's desperate attempt to save her, the current was too strong, and Lisa was dragged into the depths. Heartbroken, Mia was pulled back by Beth, who pointed toward a nearby exit, their only hope. Clinging to the jagged rock walls, they inched forward, each movement fraught with terror. Just as they reached the exit, the shark lunged from the tunnel, biting Beth's oxygen tank and dragging her back. The chaos caused Mia to lose her grip and be swept into the abyss. Struggling to free herself, Beth discarded her oxygen tank to escape, but quickly succumbed to suffocation, drowning in the process. As Mia was pulled deeper, a hand suddenly grabbed her. It was Lisa, alive, but stranded on a platform carried by the current. With only 5% oxygen left, they knew they had to move quickly. Spotting a passage below, they climbed down and swam through the narrow crevice. After what felt like an eternity, Mia noticed sunlight streaming through a crack above. They swam upward, but the shark reappeared, forcing them into another tight rock passage. The shark became stuck outside, giving them a temporary reprieve. The crevice grew narrower, trapping their oxygen tanks. With no other choice, they discarded their equipment, held their breath, and swam upward with all their strength. Finally, they broke the surface and embraced in relief. However, the towering cliffs around them meant they were still trapped. Spotting a boat in the distance, they yelled for help, but it was too far away to hear them. Determined, they swam toward it. As they approached, they saw the water turn red. Chum from the boat was drawing sharks for the tourists on board. Now surrounded by sharks, the two swam desperately toward the boat. Their sudden appearance startled the onlookers, who ran to the deck as Mia and Lisa banged on the glass, pleading for help. Before they could climb aboard, a shark leapt out of the water, grabbing Lisa and pulling her under. Without hesitation, Mia grabbed a flare gun and dove back into the water. She swam toward Lisa and fired at the shark, hitting it in the head. The injured shark released Lisa, allowing her to resurface. With the help of the tourists, both women were pulled aboard, alive but shaken. They clung to each other, their ordeal finally over.